Well, as always, we'd like to say a big thank you to you for that very important decision you make to join us here on Global Morning every day of the week, including on weekends. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe, saying we appreciate your time with us.
And I am Priscilla Obasi on a Tuesday morning saying good morning to you.
Right, there's no better time to say good morning than on a Tuesday morning, even though we are sort of starting the program with a bit of a heavy heart. Today, yes, given the very disturbing story that came through yesterday. Of course, today, as expected, is replicated across dailies, and social media is almost entirely awash, at least Nigerian social media, if you know what I mean. All right, with that depressing tale, maybe one too many as it stands right now, and again, the kind that paints Nigeria in very bad light, embarrasses the country and its people, and makes it look like we are not serious about what we're doing. And it makes you also imagine, how do you say you're driving for indirect investment? How do you say you're driving reforms across sectors when you can't deal with issues that touch the very hearts of your people, life? All right, that's disturbing, really. I've been reading comments and commentaries, all right, across social media since last night to this morning. And you see everybody trying to push blame. Some say it's President Tinubu. Others say it's the federal government over time across administrations. There are those who say, well, the military has been compromised. You have fifth columnists, you have moles within the ranks of the military, I mean, across the service branches, Army, Navy, Air Force, what have you, and all of that. Of course, some persons also find a way to talk the police into this and all of that. But is it a time to apportion blame? If it is, then it means there's enough to go around, because Priscilla will get her share of the blame on the show this morning. Why might be waiting for me as well? But what exactly are we supposed to be doing about all of this? I mean, looking at the way Brigadier General Uba was killed, all right? And if you read some of the screenshots we're now seeing, said to be part of his final moments, interactions he had with colleagues, especially in between that period where they were making efforts to come rescue him and things like that. It makes you ask yourself, if this man were my son, were my father, my brother, I mean, blood relative of some kind, would we just allow it slide and act like nothing happened, wave it up with the left hand and life goes on and things like that?
I mean, it's quite shameful at this point for us as a country. The other day we heard that ISWAP and its other counterparts were having, some kind of
Boko Haram.
Yeah, we're having some kind of, battle, and it looked like a joke. It looked like some kind of comedy making rounds on the internet. Everybody laughed about it. Somebody said, we saw comments like, after this, we'll go to the semi-finals, and the ones that emerge winner will face the U.S. Army, and everybody just making all sort of jokes out of it until we see this happen again. I mean, what does this say? What does this say about us internationally? Which sane country would want to come and invest in a country like Nigeria, considering all the insecurity, happening, and it's really sad. I am really embarrassed. Like it's at this point. I mean, it's so sad. My heart is heavy, because this is an issue that is almost seeming like it doesn't have. We cannot control anymore. And I think at this point, if we cannot handle it, is it not wise to call for help instead of watching our own wastes? These are people that lay their lives down. These are people that have, used their lives to serve the country. Their lives ought not to be wasted in such manner. So, if we need help at this point, it is time to call for help before, we waste away. Before the army itself is being defeated, that would be more shameful. So, Nigerian army, our dear country, our dear president, whatever help we need right now, this is not getting funny anymore. Nobody knows who will be next, because it looks like every minute somebody's going to be next. So it's shameful, really embarrassing, and we need the right help at this point. That's what I would say.
It's crazy. I mean, I thought we were only dealing with the 25 schoolgirls that were said to have been kidnapped in Kebbi State yesterday. But
there's still that one.
This just came as another sad layer to all of these stories about those who have been kidnapped, those who have been killed, those whose whereabouts are not even known at all. Exactly. I mean, you can only imagine as a parent or as a human being who has siblings, you have people you care about, your loved ones, how that you have somebody you so care about, you so love, somebody you're so attached to. You can't tell where they are. You just know that the last time you saw them was when they left for school, when they left for work, when they left for farm. they never returned. It's been days, it's been weeks, it's been months, in some cases it's been years, and nobody is telling you anything about it. Such a multifaceted, hydra-headed problem we're dealing with in this regard. And I read a commentary this morning where somebody was saying, and that's beginning to make a lot of sense, that the Nigerian government must do more than rhetorics, or these reassurances on paper, on the media, and everywhere else. All right, when an issue is practical, when an issue is of this scale, as we're seeing within security in Nigeria, it goes beyond rhetorics. There must be decisive kind of action against such a problem. And I'll give you an example. So we have, like this person highlighted in their commentary that I read this morning, states negotiating with terrorists, bandits, or whatever name you're calling them. The question is the military carried along? Is the military on the same page with these state governments that are doing this? We must look at that. Because you see, when people say you don't send a child to get you salt and then you induce rain while they are at it, because you know what it will happen, what will happen, what damage it will do to salt. So how do you send a child to get his salt? While they're still at it, you induce rain. And then they return with salt already messed up, and you ask them how exactly to give you an explanation. They can't provide an explanation beyond the fact that you were the one that asked them to get his salt, and you also induce rain. So what's the point? The point is, we can't ask the military to fight on our behalf criminal elements, those who are against the Nigerian state, and then we're doing a 180 on them. It doesn't make sense. It's like my father sending me to school, asking me to become a doctor after 8 or 10 years, for example. At the same time, he's negotiating with a furniture maker 2 streets away from our house to say, look, I want my son to sign up for apprenticeship as early as tomorrow. So am I supposed to juggle School of Med with apprenticeship in furniture making? Or am I supposed to finish one and come sit to face the other? What exactly is the priority? Am I on the same page with my father in terms of my future and my life's direction? It's the same thing we're doing. So we can't have one state saying, no, we don't want to negotiate with criminals. It's against our beliefs, it's against our philosophy, ideology. And a neighboring state is saying that, look, this is the best way to go. In fact, we're already on that path. It's crazy. A house divided against itself, the good book says, cannot stand. So what is the sentiment within the military ranks about this? We must begin to talk about the elephant in the room. Otherwise, we just come here every other morning, talk about deaths in different parts of the country.
Absolutely. And at this point, I think we really need to hear from those heads of, chiefs, or those chief heads,
the service chiefs,
the service chief, the defense chief of defense staff, all of them. We need to really hear from them. What are the strategies? We don't want a president coming to tell us we are defeated without hearing from these guys. These guys are the ones at the helm of affairs. They know they are the ones that send this, their boys to do whatever it is they need to do. So we need to hear them come out at this point, because they have the strategy. They need to lay down all of the strategies that are needed.
Right.
Let it make sense to that common Nigerian. Let it make sense to each and every one of us. Stop. We don't want to have the president come up every time and again to tell us we have defeated, insecurity, without hearing from the service chiefs, without hearing from, all of these heads that are meant to take charge of insecurity in this country. We don't want to have figureheads anymore in the, security space. No, we want to have heads that are really active and heads that come out to really plan, to really tell us whatever it is the strategy. I think that is what Nigeria needs at this point.
Just to put it in perspective, I've never been in the armed forces, but I understand that for you to have risen up to the level of being a brigade commander, in this case, a brigadier general, it's not something that happens at the snap of fingers or over one weekend. It takes rigorous exercises of many years. Some people say upwards of 20 years for you to get to that point. All right. So if at that level we can't guarantee the safety, the security of a man of that caliber, so what happens to the average farmer somewhere in the northwest, or the guy who is busy minding his business somewhere in the southwest? These are questions you should be asking, all right? Because my people also say that if the person who had a very good sleep, slept on maybe waterbed, some of the best mattress, all right, is complaining that they had a bad dream, what do you expect the guy who slept outdoors, the guy who slept on the street, to say? Obviously, he has had a series of nightmares. So if we cannot guarantee the safety and protection of our own men in uniform, then it means we're in a far bigger problem than we realize. And that also indicates that at this point, it's not even about the conversation of should America come, should America not come. It's more of the question of what is Nigeria doing real time that we can measure, we can see, beyond what the media aides of the president are saying. Those guys have to justify what they earn.
Exactly.
I mean, if I were in their shoes, what am I supposed to do? If you were in their shoes, what are you supposed to do? But the question is, are they the boots on the ground? Do they know what is happening in Sambisa Forest? Do they know what is happening in Damboa, in those villages, in those areas where you have miles planted all over the place across Borno? They don't have the slightest idea what is happening there. These are people who have not even traveled by road in years. I mean, in several years. So it brings you to the reality that we are dealing with an existential threat. And like somebody said this morning, President Bola Tinubu at this point will have to choose between 2027 and dealing with this monster head on. Which one comes first for him?
Exactly. I mean, that is that should be the debate right now.
Right.
It's not totally about him, but at the same time, we don't want to see a president that is unable to defeat insecurity come out again in 2027. It doesn't really make sense. So
what are you even going to campaign with?
What are you campaigning with? That's the question. So this is the time to ask. All you would want to seek for in 2027 is time to prove that you are able to do this and more. Else, I mean, there's no point. There's really no point. It is getting worse every single day, every passing day in this country. The fact that it's not affecting you, the fact that it's not affecting me, does not mean that it's not a reality to that man out there in the village, that woman, that farmer out there. It is real at this point. And like you said, if our soldiers are not even secured at this point, the soldiers that have all the trainings whatsoever, they have all, you know, if at this point they cannot even be safe, how much more the common man out there, how much more that citizen that cannot even do self-defense, you know, it is that crazy and it's that bad. So at this point, the president, it's not a conversation of will the US come, we need intervention.
Right.
At this point, it's proven that we cannot handle this, and from every indication, it has been proven that this is beyond our control. So every kind of help we can get, we need it right now.
And you know what else is even demoralizing, Priscilla, is the fact that we spent the last 2 weeks and counting trying to convince the US that Nigeria is winning the war against insecurity, that there's no Christian genocide in Nigeria. Of course. The question is not whether there's Christian genocide, there's Muslim genocide, or there's pagan genocide. The question is, are lives being taken in Nigeria? And mind you, we're even focusing on the north. You don't want to hear of or even witness the carnage happening in the south. How that a full busload of human beings, not animals, not pets, human beings, coming from the south up north is kidnapped.
Yes, I think I saw
Nobody has the slightest idea about the whereabouts. And the next thing you hear after a day or two is they are now demanded 150 million.
I'm telling you. And these are the cases that we even know.
Yes.
There are lots that we have not seen.
I mean, that just go unreported or underreported and things like that. Nobody's having that conversation. I watched one of the leaders of the African Union yesterday was taking out time talking about that there's no genocide in Nigeria. In my head, I'm like, are we doing public relations or we are dealing with an African problem? Because again, the Boko Haram ISWAP problem is quite contagious. It's not just limited to Nigeria. It's far beyond our borders. So Africa must understand what kind of conversation it should be having right now. We are coming to the international system weak. We're showing weakness to the US. We think we are doing a smart work. You can't be explaining. You are explaining. All right, you're not dealing with the problem. You're trying to persuade. You're trying to explain. In any case, while you're doing that, for example, the question really is, what kind of work are you doing to really ensure that we're seeing visible action and we're seeing the results in terms of how, I mean, look at what happened in OD, which till tomorrow, every right-thinking human being is still condemning when we have former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Look at what happened in OD, for example. Now, if a president could find the will to do that, how is it that we can't find even far stronger will now that we have a much more humanitarian cause in front of us to do far more than that?
Absolutely.
All right, because whether you like it or not, it would be a shame because there was a gentleman from the DIA who granted an interview I think 3-4 years ago, not on Global TV, somewhere else, and he was talking about how that the DSS knows the people behind all of this. The defense headquarters has this information that even foreign intelligence experts know the people sponsoring all of those things. He said some of them have been governors. He said if asked when he was talking, some of them were currently governors, some were in Senate. They were in the corridors of power. But who is going to throw the first stone? But again, there are options in front of Nigeria at this point in time, and this is a very pivotal moment in our history. As a people, we are going to decide whether we want to come cap in hand, as always, or for the first time, we are going to man up, face our fears, and surmount them. Let's take a quick break, everyone. I want to motivate you a little so we don't just rain on your parade this Tuesday morning on the show. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
If you want to grow, there needs to be preparation for times of discomfort. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo, and today I want to let you know that success is achievable. You can do it. All right? The times are changing. So many things are happening. But you need to know that comfort is the enemy of growth. That's it. That's what we want to look at today. The truth is this: everyone wants comfort, but then there is an amount of work that you need to put into yourself, into whatever it is that you feel you need to be comfortable. Therefore, comfort is the enemy of growth. If you want to grow, you need to welcome some level of discomfort. If you don't want to grow, just sit in one place and be in the euphoria of comfort, as the case may be. Now, if it doesn't challenge you, it cannot change you. That's the truth. If it doesn't challenge you, it does not have the capacity to change you. Whatever does not challenge you does not have the capacity to change you. And that's the reason most times you see people who are being challenged, all right, by a particular circumstance. They say, wow, look at this young man. Look at what this young man is doing. Look at what this young lady is doing. Wow, I'm being challenged. I can do it. I can do it. Whatever that does not challenge you cannot change you. Because if you're being challenged by a particular thing, there is a level of effort you put into turning that thing to your advantage. Comfort feels good, yeah? It's safe, yeah? Familiar and easy. But if there is a truth that we need to know, that comfort is a cage dressed like luxury. That's what comfort is. That is the definition of comfort. It is a cage that is dressed like luxury. It is not luxury. It's just being dressed like luxury. It is not luxury. That thing you're calling comfort today, that comfort zone that you don't want to get out of, it's a cage. It's not luxury. It's not. This is one thing that we need to know. Every successful man have gone through thick and thin. Everyone you see comfortable today, they had times when they were drinking Gary. Some never even had the Gary to drink. So what we're looking at as comfort today is merely a cage that has strapped you down, dressed like a luxury. It's not luxury. You can remain in that thing you call comfort, and before you know, you are 30 years. Before you know, you are 40, and you can no longer achieve the things you would have achieved that period that you felt you were in comfort. That thing is just cage. It's a cage. You need to break out of it. You need to allow yourself come out of it. This is a personal decision. Sometimes you don't even need people. In fact, this is the truth. That thing that you think is comfort, that thing you think is luxury, all right? If anyone even want to talk you out of it, you look at them as, hey, enemy of progress. You want me to go and suffer. You want me to go and suffer. No, my daddy, I'm in my daddy's house. And let me enjoy. Let me do this. No. You need to learn. And parents also need to hear this. You're not doing your children good. You think you're pampering them. You think it is comfort, but you are caging them. What if you're not there? We've had situations whereby a man died very rich, a woman died very rich, leave a lot of wealth, right, for the children. But the children couldn't manage it because they don't know the source of this wealth. They don't know how this wealth was gotten. So there was no continuity because these children were caged in what they call comfort, in luxury. I'm trying to make us know that the truth is always the truth. You need to challenge yourself. Comfort is the enemy of growth. If you want to grow, you need to get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes it's not easy. The amount of time you put into a particular thing will determine the amount of result you will get out of that very particular thing. Every time you choose comfort, you postpone your growth. That's the truth. Every time you choose comfort, you postpone. See, that minute, time doesn't wait for anyone. That's the truth. Time doesn't wait for you. Time doesn't wait for anyone. That 1 minute you spent in your comfort zone is a limitation to your growth. If you were out there trying to see how you can get to the other level, you will grow. Every time you choose a challenge, you stretch your potential. Look at the seed. I don't know. I just feel like using the seed as an example. It must break to grow. It must get rotten in the ground. Even the Bible said it. It said, except the seed fall to the ground and die, it remained alone. It remained alone. But when it gets to the soil, it's been beaten by the sun, then the rain will come on it, then it will germinate. First of all, it gets rotten in the soil. It gets heated by the sun in the soil before it grows. Then one day, they call it a harvest period. That same seed germinates, grew, brought up fruit, brought up tubers of yam, in fact, there are so many things we need to do so that we can grow. As a matter of fact, let me tell you, let's say for instance a butterfly must struggle out of its cocoon to fly, and you must also step into discomfort to become who you were born to be. When some people have a lot of testimony, a lot of things to say, maybe when it got started, the story was very, very tedious. But I want you to know that you can get out of it and you forget about the story. When the glory comes, you forget the story. But for every glory, there is a story. You don't need to forget about that. So that story must be there, all right, to make the glory valuable. So get out of that thing you're calling comfort zone. The growth zone is always outside your comfort zone. Discomfort is a sign that something inside you is expanding. That comfort. Do you know that some people learn, all right? Some people learn from their experience. If it is a bad experience, you can learn from it. If it is a good experience, you can learn from it. So I want you to know today that discomfort is a sign that something inside of you is about expanding. So take advantage of that time. Growth requires growth, like they say, requires stretching mentality, emotionally, spiritually, so that the next time you feel nervous, afraid, or uncertain, don't run from it. All right? Don't run from it. Don't run from those challenges. Some challenges are meant to make you and not to mar you. Lead on. That's where your transformation begins. And as a matter of fact, choose challenges over comfort today, because the pain of discipline weighs on cease. All right? The weight of discipline. Some people, when they are being disciplined, they say, they hate me. They hate me. But that discipline is to make you, except if it is out of some form of bad intention. But God sees every intention. No one wants to punish you because of any negative intention. But the pain of regret waits turns. Step out, grow, and become the version of yourself that comfort could never create, but challenges created them. Congratulations. I am going to be seeing you at the other side of success. We will all get there, but then get out of your comfort zone. Face the challenges. Take the discipline. Take the correction. No one have the monopoly of knowledge. All of us are work in progress, heading for a destination, and that's where success and growth meets, and of course, that makes a champion. Thank you very much. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Many thanks for watching this episode.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, I want to say thank you for still being here with us. Right now, we dive straight to the newspaper review segment. And we're starting with the Guardian newspaper with the first story on mass defection. Ndume predicts implosion in APC. You'll find that detail on page 3. Next story, genocide. U.S. lawmaker alleges Tinubu lying, protecting own interests. That detail is on page 3. We're hopeful that this whole situation, will come to an end soon, especially with the death of this general. I'm sure a lot of Nigerians would pray that it, brings some kind of urgent intervention more than ever before. I think at this point we really need it. PDP crisis may consume 2 governors, others as factions fix parallel meeting. That detail is on page 3. Declining food prices, firmer Naira, pull inflation to 15% national targets. You find that detail on page 6, and that is the big story. Security fears deepens over school girls' abduction, slain general amidst new assaults, and that detail is on page 6. Obasanjo Fayose trade words over birthday fallouts. You find that detail on page 4. Media wordsmith Dan Abese dies at 81 as LNC others mourn. You find that detail on page 5. NIMC issues 124 million NIN as poor insurgency relations install data harmonization. That detail is right there on page 15. 16 Taraba PDP lawmakers join APC ahead of Kefas. On page 30 is where you find that. And finally, we have Wike military land feud. Dauda insists on rule of law. You find that detail on page 2. 27 and 29. Those are your headlines for the Guardian newspaper. And let's go now to the Vanguard.
All right, now to the Vanguard newspaper, the very top of it. It says food inflation still rising, but at a slower pace. Akpabio, Mark, Shehu, others mourn as media icon Dan Agbese dies at 81. That's quite a big name in the industry. Tinubu to judiciary, justice must never be for sale. You find those details on page 9 of the Vanguard today. Pope warns against escalating violence, persecution against Christians in Nigeria. And with a rider there, Nicki Minaj to address UN on alleged persecution of Christians in Nigeria. All of those details you can read up on page 8 of the Vanguard. And then the Star headline, how bandits kidnapped 25 Kebbi school girls. About half a dozen riders accompanying the headline. Killed vice principal in deadly attack. Police confirm Kebbi school invasion. Abduction barbaric, condemnable, as Kebbi state government talking. But again, those are rhetorics. Tinubu orders rescue of 25 abducted school girls. Atiku condemns attack, advises federal government to strengthen security architecture. Gunmen abduct ex-NSUBEB's father. Nasarawa communities thrown into panic. Page 5 is where you'll find that very disturbing story. PDP, tension as factions battle for Wadata Secretariat. Taraba Speaker, 15 PDP Assembly members defect to APC. Tension in Enugu community as Governor Umbas Kingsmen protests alleged military invasion. And then there's a bit of sports story for you. Eric Shelley accuses Congo DR of using voodoo. There was that headline yesterday and cracked me up a little, but again, they say he who wears the shoe knows where it pinches. I'm not so sure what the size of the shoe is. Maybe the Super Eagles coach will be the best to talk to us about that. But you can read up these details from the Vanguard newspaper today as we now turn to the Leadership newspaper.
Okay, so on the Leadership newspaper, we have the first story. Fayose attacks Obasanjo, says he has dementia. That detail is on page 4. Unresolved issues. Varsity lecturers threatens fresh showdown with government. And that detail is on page 8. Inflation rate slows to 16.1% in October as food prices hit 8-year low. Tinubu vows swift rescue of 25 kidnapped school girls as police curb forests. And there's a writer to that. Kebbi school principal says bandits stormed premises midnight. You find that detail on page 4. New People's Democratic Party chair Turaki reports Wike's camp to police. And that detail is on page 14. Zulum calls for joint military operations in Lake Chad. That's interesting. You find that detail on page 17. Justice must never be for sale, President tells judiciary. Right on page 16 is where you find that. Continental Free Trade Area. Nigeria rolls out preferential tariffs. And that detail is on page 23. Wike and the Rule of Law by J.B. Daudu SAN from pages 18 to 20. Media icon Dan Abese passes on. His demise has deprived the nation of distinct voice, and that's coming from Garba Shehu. Death marks end of an era in journalism. That's coming from David Mark. He was an exceptional editor and leader, says former colleague at Newswatch, Babarinsa. And that detail, all of those details rather, are on page 7. And those are your headlines for the Leadership newspaper. They go straight to the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, so thank you, Priscilla. Let's begin with the headline above the name masts of the Nigerian Tribune. With a picture of Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says Lagos 200 billion naira bond oversubscribed by 55% at 310 billion naira. The writer says 14.8 billion naira green bond attracts 29.2 billion naira or 97.7% over subscription, All right. And what's more, Nigeria's inflation eases to 16.05% in October. We brought you that yesterday as well, coming from the National Bureau of Statistics. Edo unveils landmark agricultural mechanization drive. Governor seeks Obaseki's repatriation to Nigeria. Okay, then the Star headline. Federal government to security agents, 25 schoolgirls abducted in Kebbi must be rescued. Police deploy tactical team for rescue operation. ISWAP intercepts army signal, kills commander in Borno. Troops hit terrorists' enclaves, quell former herder clashes in Northwest, North Central. Again, maybe we need to put some things to bed here real quick. There's this impression we've been given over time, making it look like these bandits, these terrorists, these insurgents, they are some bush heads, some primitive bunch of people who just come out like zombies and start attacking people randomly. It takes a bit of understanding tech and geography for you to be able to intercept coordinates, all right? Because here it talks about how that ISWAP intercepted army signal. And we're told that he had some WhatsApp interaction, including a WhatsApp video call, for example, right? If you have used WhatsApp for a while, you should understand that your charts and every other thing you do there, including video calls and all that, are end-to-end encrypted. So if someone is able to, including when you share your location, for example, so if someone is able to understand that, read the coordinates, and be able to pin you down, pinpoint your real-time location, then that person apparently is not primitive. They are actually intellectuals at this point. They are not, for them to do to be doing what they have done, the level of impact they have had in our society in Nigeria, it doesn't in any way portray them as dullards. I have always known that they are intellectuals. Yeah. Well, sad as that is, let's forge on with the headlines this morning. Ahead of Governor Kefasi's defection, Taraba Assembly Speaker, 15 others dump PDP for APC. We saw that happen yesterday with a lot of razzmatazz in Jalingo. All right. Why Southwest must back Tinubu to win second term? Yoruba group, as we say in Pidgin. That one them they talk now. All right. Tinubu salutes Oyebamiji at 60. Describes him as a steady hand in Nigeria's financial political landscape. Then there's something about health here that you will find interesting. Scientists announce game-changing vaccine for Lassa fever. That's quite groundbreaking, details of which you will find on page 2 of today's issue of the Nigerian Tribune. Fayose abuses Obasanjo again. Operative word, again. Accuses him of making very irresponsible comments at his birthday. Your message reveals you are unchanged and unchangeable. Obasanjo replies, but how do you throw insults at people at their birthday? Not on their birthday, at their birthday. Right, it's interesting. PDP, despite expulsion, Wike faction summons NEC BOT meetings today. Turaki fixes meeting at same venue, says we are ready to lay down our lives for democracy. NWC meet with FCT police. Merkafi resigns as BOT secretary. It's getting really messy within the PDP. But again, what's the motivation? Is it love for country? Is it the need and urgency of saving weakened democracy? Or is it just clash of egos coming from several directions? Well, only those in the PDP and those who are responsible for this crisis can provide answers to those questions. While they are at it, we'll leave it here on the Nigerian Tribune today. Please do well to read up details for yourself as Priscilla takes us through headlines from the Punch newspaper. Okay, so on the Punch newspaper, let's start with the very first story. That's the big story here. Mass abduction returns. 145 missing in 4 days. There is a writer to that. Kidnapped Kebbi schoolgirls, Zamfara, Niger villagers, search intensifies. Article PDP react. Federal government pledges swift rescue. We hope it is swift indeed because
I mean, anything Swift, if they say Swift, we should be expecting their return this week. And that is what is called Swift. Let's go to the next story. 2024 capital projects stall 2026 budget plans. You find that detail on page 33. Inflation hits 3-year low at 16.05%. PDP headquarters showdown. Makinde Wike faction hold rival next sessions today. This is becoming annoying. Like, it's so lawless at this point. And for our minister, a prominent minister, someone that is holding such a position in Nigeria, to be involved in all of this things, it's just, I mean, it's really shameful. Obasanjo Fayose reignites old enmity, trade insults. Kidnapped, okay, we've taken that. Tinubu calls for corruption-free judiciary at judges' conference. Federal government receives Benin bronzes repatriated from U.S. You'll find that detail on page 30. Tension at Lagos. Street urchins stab Air Force officer. That detail is on page 4 and 5. Finally, we have Lagos bond subscription hits 310 billion naira. That detail is right there on page 34. Those are your headlines for the Punch newspaper.
Incidentally, that's what we're leaving it with the papers this morning, everyone. As always, we encourage you to read up details for yourself across all the papers we've presented to you today. And remember that Global Television and the team here on Global Morning do not in any way contribute to these headlines or their details. All we do is bring you the headlines exactly as published by the respective publishers. We'll take a quick break. Up next is Social Bars with Ogochukwu Mobuno.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Good morning, the Global Morning crew, and good morning to you, our viewers. I am Ogot Kumopno. It's another Tuesday morning to showcase what exactly is trending on social media. And today, what's buzzing? We have a lot that's buzzing on social media, but for the sake of our time, we'll just be picking one. So a vigilante has been arrested for the case of theft in Niger State. The suspect was arrested for stealing irons in Brighter Mina area on Saturday night for stealing, and he was found to be a vigilante officer. The stolen items were recovered, and the community are complaining that they have been facing such kind of challenge in the community, and that they are blaming the leadership of the vigilante to take proper measures before employing any officer. All right, I'll be leaving us with a video of this officer that was arrested. So let's take a look at that video. Okay, before the video comes up shortly, we'll just be taking comments from social media, and then we'll take you back to the video because it's necessary that we get to see who the culprit is, and we don't fall victim of these people anymore in our society. So the first comment is coming from MD or Darren Combe, and MD says, before people rush to condemn the entire vigilante leadership because one officer misbehaved, let us also speak the full truth. Every community, every system, and even every government has individuals who go against the rules. A vigilante officer stole some irons and he has been arrested immediately. That shows the system is working. But when some of our politicians steal millions and billions of public funds meant for schools, hospitals, and roads, nothing happens. They work freely, attend events, and even get celebrated. Nobody calls for dissolving the political parties they belong to. So why should one person's wrongdoing suddenly be used to discredit the entire vigilante group of people who risk their lives daily to protect the community? Let the law deal with the individual offender, but let us be fair and consistent. If we didn't shut down political structures because of corrupt politicians, we shouldn't destroy a community security structure because of one bad vigilante. Justice must be equal for everyone. All right, that's a beautiful one. I like the fact that I had to drag in politicians into this particular discussion. The next comment is coming from Halima Hassan. And Halima says, vigilante, for God's sake, what a country, please. They for just give him VIP treatments as mentioned. Okay, only God knows what exactly the VIP treatments is. But all right, so we'll just be looking at the video shortly and see what exactly is there. But
Muson Mobashi VIP treatment. So now forgive and before come. As you don't come now, no, you can tell me that. No. Kunda kuli ga mun kira gaskiya ba to ku ta ba. Ku ma you know wannan kai wannan gari last week ake ba ni labarin shi. Ina karfe. Ina can. Dala wai ko ta ni shi da ba shi daga. Akwai mutum da yazo masaran da ya kwashe sai ya dawo da su fa zai ba su statement a office. Oh, yau ne to ka ce gobe na to ne mu ai ba mu tashi ba tun da dare muna na yes sir ka gane come not now and later now.
All right, we've seen that video right there, but I have a problem, just a small problem with that video. The face of this young man isn't, visible. They didn't make it visible to people. I do not know why, but I think it's high time in Nigeria we show the faces of anyone who commits any crime, heinous crimes like this. This is someone who's supposed to be protecting properties and lives of, individuals in this community. and then you're not even safe in the hand of a security man. Just like, I read through, they have had series of complaints like this, not knowing that someone inside the security group is doing this. And I'm sure this is not the only person, because we've seen cases of, vigilante being the culprit themselves. Well, I'm not alone today in the studio. I have with me Priscilla Obasi. Good morning, Priscilla.
Good morning, Ogochukwu. Thank you for having me here to analyze this funny situation with you. Do you want me to talk? Do I go ahead?
All right. So I know you've seen, we are watching the video now. I've read through the comments, and of course you must have heard or seen situations like this. So I just want to know your contribution to this particular topic.
Well, I think we're at the point in Nigeria where security is personal. Yeah, the fact that you have a vigilante, it doesn't mean that your eyes shouldn't be on the ground, because the system totally is corrupt, right? If you have, we saw on the news yesterday that a major, general was killed by ISWAP. If a general can be killed in a country like Nigeria, someone that, is being trained to protect lives, it means that you, that is a common man out there, need to take your life in your hand. You need to be careful. You need to just do your due diligence when it comes to protecting yourself. This is not the first time we're hearing of things like this. It's a good thing that the vigilante person has been caught, and I hope that he is being meted the right punishment for whatever crime he has committed. But I just want to say that the first comment that was read out, the very first guy that spoke about comparing the system with politicians, I liked what he said, and somehow I just feel like it didn't really get on my good side, because someone has committed a crime. There's no need to compare a bigger thief and a small thief.
For that, there's no big thief and there's no small thief.
There's no need to compare two thieves. Whoever is being, this guy has stolen, he should be punished. You get? You don't have to compare. Do you get? If you find politicians misbehaving, we're at that point in the country, we're at that point, we're at that age where social media has given everybody a voice. Nobody has been quiet about the bad politicians in our system. So when somebody is being caught, doing some wrong of some sort, you deal with that person. You don't have to compare situations. Say, how about our leaders? Have they been? I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about.
It's not like you're making an excuse for that crime.
So we shouldn't excuse crime, whether it's one guy in the village that did it or a crime is a crime and should be dealt with. Then to re-emphasize what I started saying, vigilante or whoever it is that is guarding you, your eyes should be on the ground. Do not fold your hands and leave it in their hand. Because sometimes we have found out that some of this vigilante aid these criminals. They kind of make the way for them. And that is why you should, take your security very personal. Call them to do their best, but make sure that you cross-check. Make sure that you are following up whatever it is they are doing, and make sure that you're not quiet or just in the dark about what they are doing in that environment.
Thank you so much, Priscilla, for your contribution. It is very, very interesting. We're going back to that same comment, that first comment. Honestly, I really, really love the comment, and I also like the way you contributed to it, not making excuses for anybody, whether big or small offense. They are all offenses and should be treated right. Not minding that, oh, he's a vigilante and we're supposed to be like a community police. That's the way I see them. I call them community police, just like we are all clamoring for state policing. I think those ones are like the grassroots police, like the community police, who are supposed to guide lives and properties. But most times we get to see them doing things like this. And now, at the end of the day, you might just say, oh, maybe it's because of the way the country is. But no, if you are called to do duty like this, then you should know that you have to hold it up, and you have to bring your integrity to it. Because you are responsible for whatever it is that goes wrong. So you need to be responsible. You need to take your responsibility, at hand like that.
And it's so funny, if you are in some kind of need, if we find out that in a particular community where you're protecting lives, there are people there that can actually assist you. So instead of going to steal, why not just walk up to people and say, I am in need of this? We've seen it happen in my environment. The policeman will come up and say, the security guard in the environment comes up sometimes to say, I have some health challenges. And we rally around to solicit, we rally around to, gather something for him and give it to him. So Instead of bringing yourself down to stealing, you can actually approach people and ask for help, and you'll just be shocked that you are in that environment where you are at an advantage, because there are lots of people that if one person does not give, another person will give to you. So there's no need to steal, because you are guarding the lives of, sometimes you are protecting lives of people that are well-to-do, and even if they are not well-to-do, everybody's little penny can contribute or can come together to do something reasonable for you. So I'm just trying to say, there's no need to steal. Yeah,
very true. I must add to that these days I get to see that people appreciate vigilantes more than police. I don't know, but this is what I've noticed, because they're guarding like a particular community, and when you get to see them at night, you walk late at night and you're coming back, I get to see people say, oh, take this as a tip, thanks for working, you're working really hard and all of that.
Yeah.
So I get to really see them give up tip. Why? Because they feel like they're doing so much.
Yes.
Like if there's anything happening in that community, like when you call a vigilante, the response is swift. Unlike when you call a policeman. Honestly, no offense to the police, but so far, I must say that this is just
more responsive.
Yes, the response is very fast. Thank you so much once again, Priscilla.
Thank you so
much. All right,
much.
for the sake of our time, this is where we're trying to cut in today on Social Buzz here on Global Morning. I'm still your host, Ogochukwu. Until I come your way next time, please stay with us as Global Morning continues.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily, while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, so let's chit-chat a little more, just as a precursor to our big conversation on the show this morning, of course, which features the issues around all of that very nasty story from Kebbi State yesterday about the kidnaps of dozens of girls from a certain girls-only school right there. As it stands today, there have been issues emanating on account of these developments, including questions about how that today we see the military being saddled with the responsibility of rehabilitating terrorists and bandits, while citizens are asked to, well, resort to self-defense. How is that supposed to happen? Is that a model that has been tested anywhere in the world? Or is Nigeria going to be the pathfinder in this very precarious situation in which we have found ourselves? You know, that became very topical one time. It was more like a subject of debate. People saying that, look, we are going to a point where you have to defend yourself. But the question is that feasible? Is it sustainable?
And then what tools are you allowed to use
defending yourself with?
To defend yourself, and for how long? Because when you talk about self-defense, if you're not a trained karate, like if you've not learned, the martial arts and all of that, how do you want to defend yourself? And then you now resort to things like pepper spray, and all of other vices. Are you allowed to have a gun? Let's talk about it as these are the realities of self-defense. We don't have a country that allows you to possess some kind of ammunition or arms. So what are you talking about self-defense? Are you going to use your unlearned skills, or even if you're skilled?
Right.
How far you're dealing with someone with you're dealing with armed people. So how do
probably has received some rudimentary training.
Exactly, because the kind of ammunitions that these bandits possess, some people have said that even our police officers do not possess it. So how do you want to defend yourself?
Yeah.
Is it feasible? I don't think it is. So the way forward is, to have a government that really intervenes with all of these bandits that will be able to just send them away. I don't know how it will be done, but I know it is possible. We have all the technology. We have minds. We have brilliant minds in Nigeria, for crying out loud. This thing is not beyond us. I am not a trained military person, but I know that before you go through all of those trainings, it is no small thing to come out of the military school and then you are now handicapped. Right. I don't think it makes any sense. So we have all that it takes. And even if we don't have, we are in such an era where things can be improved upon. We can, get all the intelligence, whatever intelligence we need, it is at our fingertip because it is available to us. So we need to, indulge. We need to employ the services of whoever we need to employ right now to get it done. I don't think it's beyond us, really. Right. I am very convinced that insecurity is not beyond us.
All right, quite interesting. But again, we must continue to have this conversation because whether we like it or not, the world is watching, and Nigeria must prove whether we want to win this war or not. We understand the president, as always, has now also ordered military to say, look, the rescue of these girls, 25 of them we're hearing, is non-negotiable. They must be rescued. He has ordered. But the question is it an order the military needs?
Exactly. What if they are not rescued? Exactly. So what happens if they are not rescued? You need to tell us what happens. Let's know the other side of things. Don't just say we need this to happen, and then I can tell you that's where it ends. Somehow we don't question it again. We just go with the belief that our president has ordered for their release. Right. We never see them. God forbid. We want them to be released, but what happens if they are not released? It should be the question. What would you do after ordering, and what is the time frame of this order? Right. If you say we want them released immediately we need to measure what immediately is.
What's the time window?
What's the time window of immediately? Immediately can span forever in Nigeria because we have seen this happen over and over again. We say we're done. We order this, we empathize and all of that. That's the language we get to hear now and again. So we are done with talking. Like at this point, talk is not really the most important thing on the table. What we want to hear, what we want to see is plans, action, a time frame, a time window. We want to see all that. Those are the conversations. Those are the kind of vocabulary we want to be hearing right now, not what we have been hearing in time past. So ordering them to do whatever they will do immediately, to me, is not making any sense until I hear how soon it should be done and what happens if it is not done. Yes. And then we can now know that we have a working system.
It's quite interesting. I remember as a very young boy growing up, a Chinese leader was in this country at the invitation of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and he was notified about a situation in his country. He left in the middle of his engagement with other world leaders and headed back to China. Was seeing French President Emmanuel Macron, himself relatively a young man, leave engagements across Europe and even beyond Europe to return back to France to provide leadership where it was critically needed. Is it not possible for President Bola Tinubu to say, look, no foreign engagements for me or those who work in this government, who serve in my government, until we have significantly crippled these enemies of states I mean, beyond what we heard in the days of former President Muhammadu Buhari about how that, according to former Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, that they had been technically defeated. Till today, nobody has been able to make sense of that. Not the government that stayed for 8 years, not this government that has done more than 2 years. You see, when we do this, the ramifications are quite broad-based. One, we embarrass ourselves as a nation. The government embarrasses itself and looks weak. The people become helpless because at the end of the day, it's rhetorics, and it doesn't take any special set of skills to advance these rhetorics. But we're looking for leadership that provides real answers to the questions around insecurity, both of lives and property. Well, let's not overflow this. We'll take a quick break and the rest of the program continues shortly.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Just a few years before today, we started talking about the Safe School Initiative. Safe School Initiative, beyond the school feeding program, which again in itself has been immersed in corruption long before today. But the Safe School Initiative, as the name implies, had been designed to ensure that schools are safe enough for children, for pupils to attend, all right, without their parents, their guardians being afraid of anything untoward. But of course, that has not been the case right now. Now, this is specifically important in a country where girl child education is very low, especially up north, all right? So in a bid to also ramp up the number of girls going back to school, this program became very, very timely. By today, we've seen how it has come under real-time threat. And then you're asking yourself, when that program was conceived, what kind of modality was built around it by the police, by the Federal Ministry of Education, perhaps in collaboration with all its agencies and the state's ministries of education? But again, today, as is always the case, we see a huge, huge question mark over that, what should have ordinarily be a commendable and laudable initiative. We're taking a break. When we return, our guest, who is an expert in counterterrorism and issues around intel and security, will help us find sense in what exactly Nigeria is grappling with right now, and who knows what practical solutions could mean for our dear nation. Do stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
As we delve deeper into the conversation this morning, my guest is Dr. Stephen Okwori, is a security and strategic studies expert, crime management consultant, anti-kidnapping expert, certified risk manager, advocate for local policing and indigenous production of defense and security equipment. And we're going to engage him across all of these elements shortly. But first of all, let's begin from somewhere. First, thank you, Dr. Okwori, for making our time to come on the show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Great. So I'd like us to start from what it is. When the Chibok girls issue happened in 2014, one would have thought it was going to be a one-off incident, but that hasn't been the case. Talk to us about that trajectory, the pattern behind this phenomenon.
Yeah, but of course, you know that Nigeria doesn't work like that. What that means is that when incidents happen, we don't have the capacity, the capability as government, even as security agencies, to see that it's a one-off, right? We expect that there will be some reoccurrence and all that. And we have seen that it has played out since 2014 to 2025 that we are. After Chibok, it was Dapchi in Saint Bruno in 2018. Then we saw the federal government girls' college in Yauri in same Kebbi state, where it happened in 2021. We have seen Kankara, we have seen Kagara, we have seen Jangabi, all the schools, you know. And record or data has it that since 2014, well over 1,680 students or children have been kidnapped or adopted from schools. Some have died, some injured, and all that. Some were giving it forced marriages and all that. So we have our history, whether we like it or not. We have experienced 11 years since the adoption of school children from 2014 to date, 11 years. So we already have our history, and our experiences are there. And the current realities, which was the one of yesterday and the previous ones. Have we learned any lesson from them? What measures have we put in place as government, as security agencies, to see that this doesn't occur? But rather than, for me, doing what we need to do as government, when I say government now, it's not at the federal alone. Look at the state and look at also the local government, because they all swore an oath to see how to carry out that primary responsibility of government, which is the Section 14(2)(b) of our Constitution, security and welfare of citizens of the country. So are they fulfilling that section of the Constitution? If you ask me, I would say the answer is no, because a lot has been happening. And then we keep hearing promises from our political leaders. Yesterday's Kebbi, the government comprehensive secondary school, the president has given marching orders and all that. But it's not about marching orders. For me, it's about seeing that it doesn't even happen. Why do we even allow it to happen? Because we can put measures in place, we can put frameworks in place to see that there's drastic reduction in the rate of crime. I'm not expecting a utopian society where everything should be perfect, but let us see concerted effort from government and the agencies of government that are saddled with the responsibility of seeing that Nigerians are safe.
Let's talk about the school, Safe School initiative. We don't seem to hear much about that anymore. And in any case, what was the concept behind it originally?
You see, the Safe School initiative is, I think, a unit established or a department established in the Nigerian Police Force. And also the Civil Defense, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps also have something like that. But you see, these things should not just end up as a... But when I got in there to do my presentation, you see, most of this crime of adoption happens in our rural communities where you don't have security presence. How many of the schools have you heard that they adopted children in the FCT or in Makurdi town or in the capitals of this state, even in the north?
Always on the fringes.
Exactly. So, of course, it is not new for our security agencies not to know that there's no presence of security agents or personnel in these hinterlands that we are talking about. And that is why when these criminals come, they have their field day. You know, they take their time and do whatever they want to do. Just imagine the unpleasant report from the police in Kebbi. I heard the PPRO said that they are going to see how to get into the premises of the school. Right? For me, that was a very flimsy excuse. I didn't like that at all. Right? Now they have taken them. They've taken them away. It is not about rescuing them. It goes beyond rescuing them. When you rescue, that trauma, do you know how long it will last? As long as they live on this earth, it will keep tormenting them. These are young children, right? So we must be proactive. And you see, when I say these things, it's as if we are making noise. This thing is doable. Now, if you go to the dailies now, you see that when the thing happened, the Chief of Army Staff stormed Kebbi. He went there, right? Now, the responsibility of when it has to do with internal crime has to do with the police. We haven't heard anything from the IGP. The IGP is just there. He didn't even go there. So how do we see this seriousness from people that are saddled with such responsibility of providing security for the citizens of the country? It is not the responsibility of the army, but the man went there. That's to show you how differently they work, how proactive they are. But the police hasn't said anything beyond what the PPRO of Kebbi State Police Command said. So we must be serious about what we are saying. The government has the capacity and the capability to see that these things don't happen. But are they doing it? That's the question that we need to ask them.
In fact, there are several questions, maybe endless questions. But let's also now talk about the issue of
the governors themselves.
Yes.
Kebbi has been badly hit by all of these insecurity problems. We see governors divided. You have a couple of governors saying that, look, we have to negotiate with these bandits, with these terrorists. Let's even forget nomenclature for a second. You have a governor in Zamfara who says is the wrong path to tour for you to say you want to negotiate with them. On the other hand, we understand that the leadership of defense and army is also not happy with the governors who are saying let's negotiate with them, because that is counter what they stand for, what their mandate is. Exactly. So how do we reconcile all of these conflicts?
You see, first of all, I don't know if you are aware of the Operation Safe Corridor in Gombe.
Right.
That has the responsibility of bringing ex-Boko Haram...
amnesty, rehabilitation.
For me, it's an ex. It's like almost negotiating with bandits. Because how can you bring on board some criminals that have terrorized our communities, ravaged our communities, made children orphans, women widows, men widowers? Some communities don't even exist as we are talking. There's a community in Borno as we speak. During the day they are in Borno, at night they move to Cameroon because of insecurity. And these miscreants, these criminal elements, you come, you bring them that you have rehabilitated them, they have repented and all that, and therefore they should go back and reintegrate back into the society that they have caused all this mayhem. We're not even getting it right at that level. So sincerely. So if we are condemning governors negotiating with bandits, we should also condemn where the federal government has brought policy where criminals are seen that they have repented. How genuinely, how truly do you even know that they have repented? When you say they have repented and they have gone back into their society, into the societies where you cannot even see them, which policy, which mechanism, which framework have you now put in place to be able to monitor them?
But some people say, well, we can use the same model that was applied in the case of the Niger Delta militants.
But these are two different incidents for me, or events for me. Niger Delta militants, yes, they were asking for, they were trying to see how to attract government presence to some of the effects of the oil that befalls their community. Right. So if they were doing that, and okay, government have said, okay, this is your cry, this is your demand. Okay, let us go ahead and see how to, okay, lay down your arms, we will come see how to fix what you are asking for. But these criminals, these bandits, what are they asking for? They are terrorists. As far as I'm concerned, bandits and terrorists, they are one and same. They kill, they rape, they collect ransom, they do all these are acts of terrorism. So what are they asking for? They have not come out to say this is what they are asking for. So why do we now begin to see how to marry what happened in the Niger Delta and what is happening in the northeast or the northwest region of Nigeria? And that is why we are seeing expansion. Boko Haram started in 2009. What was the primary threat when it happened, when it started in 2009? It was only Boko Haram insurgency. Apart from Boko Haram, was there any other one?
And
no?
They said at that time that their challenge was, their concern was they didn't want Western education.
So who should why they should tell government that? When children want to go to school, parents want to send their children to school or their wards to school, you want to come with an ideology that you don't want it, so you should apply?
Did we show weakness at that point as a government to have dealt with it from the roots?
Absolutely. Did we agree? When we were designated as a terrorist organization, a terrorist country, we refused. We didn't agree. And it has cost us. Now, Boko Haram has fragmented. We have Islamic State, West Africa province, came out of Boko Haram. Mahmouda came out of Boko Haram. Ansaru came out of Boko Haram. And we currently have Wulo Wulo. Wulo Wulo is the latest. Also,
that was the one after Lakurawa group.
Yes. But Lakurawa emerged on its own. It didn't come, it's not an offshoot of...
That's a standalone cell.
Exactly. They came from Mali and all that to come create this in Nigeria. Now, if you look at the Global Terrorism Index of 2025, Nigeria is ranked 6th as one of the most terrorized nations in the world. And in that survey contained 163 countries. And we are still doubting it. When we are seeing what we are seeing here, the indicators that the Institute used to come up with the data. 1, number of incidents, fatalities, injury, hostages. In this country, from 2024 to 2025, July, August, Nigerians paid 2.56 billion naira as ransom. So what are we saying? All these are there. The world is a global village. It's just for you to key in. The insecurity situation in Nigeria, a lot is out there. So when they look at all this information, all this data, and they sum up with what they have come out, and you want to begin to doubt, in this country, MBS, National Bureau of Statistics, came with a report that 2.2 trillion naira was paid as ransom as Nigerians. And I did not doubt them at all, because I did my PhD thesis on kidnapping for ransom. Out of almost 50 victims that I interviewed, I know how much they paid. The only thing the government could do then is to come up with a press conference debunking a federal government agency's data.
That's shameful, no doubt about it. But let's now talk about the issues around intervention. Recently, the US, of course, blacklisted us, captioned us a country of particular concern.
Yeah.
Of course, again, to use your term, we have debunked that. Beyond religion, ethnicity, tribalism, regionalism, or whatever it is, these are lives being lost in their numbers every other day. Do we need the US to do whatever their plan is? Because we understand that by this week, perhaps even today, a certain congressman will be pushing further to ensure that the US government continues to double down on its plan to intervene militarily in Nigeria. What does that indicate, and what are the implications for our country?
My brother, number one, we need help, whether we like it or not. I've said it in forum like this that we need help. Do you know why? Because we don't have the sincerity of purpose to be able to confront these heinous activities of criminals that we are seeing. That sincerity, we lack the integrity. Sincerely, we are not fighting these issues of insecurity genuinely at all levels, both the political class, the legislature, the security agencies. We're not fighting it genuinely. Do you know why? Because they are making monies from it, whether we like it or not. They are making monies from it. The legislature are not doing what they need to do. How well are they carrying out oversight functions on our MDAs, militaries and agencies and all that? How well are they carrying out oversight function? The executive, they give out contracts, and you think their interest is not built in it? In the last, since 2014 to date, 12.6 trillion naira was the Ministry of Defense budget.
And nobody's asking questions as to whether Nigerians are getting commensurate value from these allocations.
That is what the US is saying, because they have assisted Nigeria in the area of logistics aids and
training.
Yes, and they are not seeing the results. It's not there for us to see. They are seeing that the results are not there. So this thing that people are not doing the way we want it, we want to come and see how to help the country. Now, we're not saying that, yes, both Christians, Muslims, and people that don't even belong to any of these religions are killed in this country. You cannot take away the fact that other Nigerians are not killed. But when you begin to look at it, there's a data out there. About 185 Nigerians have been killed since 2009 to date.
185,000?
Yes, 185,000. Out of the 185,000, 60,000 Muslims or people that don't belong to any religion fall under that 60,000. Then you have 125,000 Nigerians that are Christians that have been killed. You cannot take away the fact that it is not Christians that are the most killed in these issues that we are talking about. When you go to Benue, how many Muslims do you have there? When you go to Plateau, how many Muslims do you have there? There are certain communities that you go, you can't even find Muslim. It's difficult to even find one. And these people are killed almost on a daily basis. What are we saying? Unfortunately, I saw Sheikh Gumi saying that most of these burials are stage-managed burials. How can
that those caskets are empty?
Why will he say that? The ones that they don't bury in caskets, that they put them in mass grave. Is he saying that he doesn't see those ones? You see, when we begin to toe a different line when it has to do with security, he has gone the other way because they mentioned Christians and all that. Okay, the intention of Trump, take away that word, Christians and all that, doesn't he mean well for the country? When he comes to take on the jihadists, he didn't say he was coming to take on it. That his threat wasn't on Nigeria or against Nigeria. He said he was
enemy of states.
Enemy of states. And who are these enemies? Some of us in Nigeria here, people in government know them. And he said that he wants to come and take on them. So we should appreciate him for coming to take on these enemies of state. Because when they kill Christians, they kill Muslims, they kill the ones that are non-Christians or Muslims. So we should appreciate him. So why the protest? Even in Kanu, when he made that statement, Trump made that statement, there was protest in Kanu by Shiite against Trump's statement. So I think that at this point in time, we need help. When former President Buhari was there, when the General Mungunu was the chief of National Security Advisor,
yes.
When we're talking about help, foreign help and all that, he mentioned what do you call it now, national pride. That Nigeria has its pride and all that. When we go out there asking for help, it's as if these issues are not surmountable. This is not an issue that has to do with national pride. Nigeria needs help, and it must come from external. Yes, because we don't, just the way I said, that sincerity that yes, we are ready to do this, it's not there. Because when the US and other countries come to give us help, they will go to these places where they have seen that these are where these criminals hibernate and take them on. Look at the recent one, a brigadier general.
Right.
What kind of thing is this?
Do you believe, I mean, being an expert, that there are moles and fifth columnists within the ranks of the defense and security architecture in Nigeria? Because there are people who believe that there's no way ISWAP could have been able to successfully intercepted, all right, that troop led by a brigadier general if there hadn't been somebody from the inside who was compromising.
You can't take that away. Of course, in every system there are bad eggs.
Right.
And you can't take the bad eggs from the system. And I'm happy that the authority, the hierarchy of the military, the police and all that, they are trying their best to see how to fish out these bad eggs. We have seen instances where smugglers come in with arms and ammunition from our borders, Taraba, Sokoto and the other, and you see that they approach military checkpoint, they bribe and they find their way. So haven't they compromised? They have compromised. Are they not saboteurs? They are. Right? So we find them in our system, whether we like it or not. We have seen situations, by the time they are embarking on such military security operations, the information is already out there. And don't forget that, beyond that, the military, the police should reduce the way and manner they even go to the media. Seriously. Because you are fighting an enemy that you don't know. They have sponsors that live with us. They live among us. They have access to television. They have access to radio. In the event when you want to carry out such operations, right, and you're on the media, you see it, you have given your enemies an opportunity to be ahead of you.
Right.
The current chief of defense staff, when he was chief of army staff, during the crisis in Benue, he relocated to Benue. It was all over the media. You are going for such military operations, and all over the media, it was there that you were relocating to Benue, and you expect the bandits not to know.
Tactically, that was a wrong move.
Tactically, it was a good strategy, right? Because going there is to see how to motivate.
No, I mean the idea of making it public.
Yes. Yes. The idea of making it public, a good strategy, embarking or relocating to Benue to boost the morale of troops that our boss is here, you know. But strategically and tactically, it is wrong. Because the bandits, the criminals won't wait for you. Of course, as you are relocating to Benue, they also relocate to the boundaries of other states. By the time you finish what you have come to do and you leave, they will come back. And that was what happened. The moment the chief of army staff left Benue,
they resumed.
That was when the Yellow-Water killings, that almost 200 people were killed. So the way and manner they even go to the media, you are even also giving out your strategy to the criminal elements that you don't even know. Don't forget that it's an asymmetric warfare, that it is hard to know who your enemy is, except you undergo some professional trainings, right? Because when you see these terrorists, they are looking very subtle and looking very quiet. You will not expect that they can even hurt a fly. Meanwhile, they are aiming at their target in that mood. So how will you be able to predict or know that this is a terrorist that is embarking on a suicide mission? So it's difficult. So we should see that they reduce the way and manner they come to the media, but it doesn't stop them from telling us their success story.
Right.
If you rescue 200 Nigerians from captivity and you come to tell us, it's a welcome development. But don't tell us that you want to embark on a joint mission in so state. Right. No. It's not acceptable anywhere.
Let's talk about some efforts we've seen the last few years. We've seen Tucano Jets being acquired, which again was a long drawn-out issue between Nigeria and the United States under former President Muhammadu Buhari. We're seeing change of guard time and again, the most recent being the one that President Tinubu has just done now. Do we say those efforts fall through the crack, or are they paying off on some level?
You see, when you were reading out my profile, you said I'm an advocate of local policing and also when it has to do with defense, military equipments produced locally.
Right.
We have the capacity to produce this defense military equipment locally. Then why are we over-relying on Western production? Of course, you are aware that when we go for Western production, there are bottlenecks. You remember how long it took us to acquire those Tucanos?
Right.
When we have the capacity to produce some of these defense military equipments in Nigeria, let us encourage local entrepreneurs. You understand? So that we can have these things produced here. Just imagine as small as bullet. We still go outside this country to go and procure bullets. The last time I did my workings, a bullet was going for $2. And it's on record that the military uses about 250 million bullets annually.
In Nigeria?
Yes, I don't know how true is that. And it's also on record that the police use 300 million bullets annually in this country. And the bullet costs $2. So just imagine, if it's not corruption, for instance, why would we not produce these bullets in Nigeria? They will prefer to go outside the shores of the country because of what they stand to benefit. So there's a lot that is hindering the success story in the fight against insecurity in this country. And that is why most people talk about the political will. We have the capacity. We have the resources. But are we judiciously using the resources for the purpose? Are we truly implementing the budget to see that the amount contained in the budget, in the 2025 budget, you know that it is 4.91 trillion naira that is meant for defense and security. How many percent have we implemented in that 4.91 trillion? And meanwhile, very recently, the president went and appealed to the National Assembly to approve that he should go and borrow 1.5 whatever trillion naira to come and fund the 2025 budget, and we're in the month of November. Are you seeing where we are?
So you're saying our priorities are misaligned?
Absolutely. They are misaligned. If they're not misaligned, tell me why we are going to see how to bring Ekweremadu to come and serve his remaining jail term in Nigeria as a government. What do you want to achieve in that? Tell me why we have a list of people pardoned, and most of them are drug barons, kidnappers in this country.
People who have committed heinous crimes. All right, we're taking a break at this point. And when we return, we'll talk a little more about the real issues on the ground and how executives of states are reacting to this development that we're seeing at this point. Please do stay with us, everyone. Let's cascade things down a little now, away from the federal government for a minute. Governor Zulum, a man who is doing his second term as governor of Benue State, less than 2 months ago, came out and said, look, there's need for more, if you like, improved military presence in Benue State, especially in those areas that have become hotspots. At a point, we were even told, going by news reports, that, look, at least 3 local governments in Benue State had come under the authority, so to speak, of militants, of terrorists, in a state where you have an elected, duly elected, democratically elected governor. And we've seen that happen in a few other states, especially in the northeastern part of our country. Does that show these governors as being helpless, hopeless, and defenseless, or is it just a case of playing to the gallery to make a a storm in a teacup look like a mountain?
No, first of all, you have to agree that whether we like it or not, governors are the chief security officer of their states. And it's applicable to local government chairmen or chairperson. They're also chief security officers of their various local governments. And don't forget that security votes also goes to states. I don't think there's any state that collects less than 5 billion naira security votes monthly.
5 billion?
Less than 5 billion monthly.
But we have data to support that. Because we are told that these are pieces of information that are guarded jealously by governors.
No. If they are intentional, if they mean well for their states, they should publish it. It's there. I'm from Benue. My governor does not collect anything less than 5 billion as security votes.
That's Governor Ascent.
Earlier, yes. What are they using the money for? And it's monthly. So if the president has capacity to call service chiefs and have security briefings and all that, they give him up to date, give him intelligence of happenings in Nigeria. Governors also call state security meetings where heads of brigades, of GOCs and all that, commissioners of police, all the heads of security agencies at the state level also come for such meeting. And I expect that local government chairmen should also have the capacity to call for such security meetings at their state, because we have the DPOs, the heads of DSS, and civil defense heads at the local government level. Crime is local. This crime happens most times in our rural communities. So at what level do we expect reaction? It's at the local government level. The question now is, do we have a functional local government system? The answer is no. And who has killed the local government system? The governors, whether we like it or not. If a traditional ruler or a critical stakeholder coming that is invited for such local security meeting put together by the local government chairman, he comes and he mobilizes himself to come for such meeting, and he comes with an information that he saw headsmen, he saw these and all that, suspected people that in their area, for the police to act. He has come with an information, right? And he's not mobilized to go back. You know what I mean?
Right.
You think the next time he will come, use his own resources to come? The local government chairman should have the resources to call for such meetings. And of course, logistics and reimbursement must play out. They need these resources. A local government chairman that gets an allocation from the federal purse, close to $1 billion, at the end of the day gets perhaps 50 million or something. But how do you expect him to work? He can't work. The local government system needs to work where local government chairman can as well give contracts for road construction, for building of markets, for building schools, for upgrading or renovating hospitals, primary health care and other. And people from these communities can also work and make daily earnings from contractors. But we don't see this happen in any of our local governments in Nigeria. Right. So a lot needs to be done. And you see, when I begin to look at this thing, no wonder, what's his name, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, said the insecurity issues that we experience in Nigeria are elite orchestrated insecurity. That was how he named it.
Former Chief of Staff to former President Muhammadu Buhari.
Yes, that was how he named it. He said it's elite orchestrated insecurity. Because when you look at it, most of the insecurity issues are caused by the elites, political class.
How so?
Sorry?
How so? I mean, how did we get to that conclusion that it's elite orchestrated?
All the crimes that we experience in this country at the moment all started in this Fourth Republic, this democracy.
Right.
2009, it was when terrorism came. Are you not watching in the news or reading the papers where two personalities from Burundi pointing fingers at themselves that you started Boko Haram? This one said, no, it was you that started Boko Haram. Are they not elites? Because they belong to the political class. They are elites. Bandits activities, when you interact with them, they said what is due to them in terms of... I interviewed kidnappers during my PhD thesis. I know what they told me. They blame it on government.
The repentant ones or the ones still active?
The ones still active.
In business?
The ones still active. The repentant where? The ones that are still active. I had an interview with them. So they blame it on government. And who runs the government? They are the elites. So for Professor Gambari to sit and look at it and say these insecurities are elite orchestrated. And it's not far from the truth.
A man like Sheikh Gumi has been talking a lot about bandits pushing government to negotiate with them. As a matter of fact, a story has shown up a while ago about him saying that, look, if government does not negotiate with them, that this kidnapping will just be, these attacks will just be the beginning. In other words, things could escalate real quick. One would have thought that the secret police, as they are often called, the DSS in Nigeria, would have already been engaging him, using the information he has to address this problem. That hasn't happened, has it?
I haven't seen it happen. But in a sane society, will somebody like Gumi still be moving around? I don't know if you are aware that in 2014, that Abdul Muttalab,
right, the young man that wanted to blow a plane over Detroit, Christmas period.
Exactly. It was established when Gumi went to Saudi that he had some conversation with the boy. And the Saudi authority held Gumi for like 6 months in Saudi there. These informations are out there. So if Gumi is coming to tell us or tell the government that they should negotiate with bandits, on what basis is he saying that? You know, let me tell you, for me, the Gumi guy, if I was president, the secret police would have held him for a very long period, because whatever Gumi is doing is also emboldening the criminal elements, because it's as if he's speaking or talking on their behalf, as if they are doing what is right. That's the way I look at it.
How much of challenge does President Bola Tinubu have now? Because he is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic, beyond politicking.
He has a lot. He has a lot of challenges, whether we like it or not. Because if security is not in place, whatever the president is doing, for me, it won't see the light of the day. We're talking about development here. Without security in place, there won't be any meaningful development. Without security in place, there will be food insecurity. How many of our farmers are accessing their farms? We have seen soldiers going to provide security for farmers to harvest.
Is that model sustainable?
How sustainable? After we saw it in Zamfara, where? Did you see it again anywhere? It's not the responsibility of the military to do that. Look at how we have reduced, the level we have reduced our military. Where is the police in all of this? When the president rejigged the military, I expect that the rejigging should go around. Not just the military alone. Rejig the police. Rejig the immigration. Rejig the customs. Because security agencies established either by a constitution or act were established for a purpose. The purpose, are they fulfilling the mandate why they were established? In this country, foreigners are here, collaborating with our domestic criminals, inflicting pains, mayhem on our people. The immigration is there. NIA is there. They have failed in their mandate, whether we like it or not. In this country, we have well over 6.6 million arms and ammunition in the hands of non-state actors. The customs. We have the Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons domiciled in the Office of the National Security Advisor. Recently, I saw that they recovered 13,000 arms and ammunition, and it was in the news, out of over 6 million.
So that's insignificant.
Absolutely. We have the National Counter-Terrorism Center, also domiciled in the Office of the National Security Advisor. They have reviewed the strategy, and we're expected that Mr. President should launch the new strategy, right? The old strategy, how successful was the old strategy? You have reviewed the new one, yes, it's a welcome development, but all this should not end in the papers. We have the National Security Strategy, which I criticized.
Why?
Because it is not fulfilling the purpose. Why they had to put such documents together when it has to do with addressing kidnapping for ransom? Are we not still experiencing kidnapping for ransom? Ransom paid. I just told you the figure here in the last 1 year. So the National Security Strategy has in that document that mechanism framework will be put in place. And when you see the document, it is will be. You understand? Looking at
what futuristic.
But even as currently, it is not still fulfilling. Early response mechanism. Nigerians are kidnapped indiscriminately. We have our forests there. This is where these criminals keep these hostages until negotiation is done to their satisfaction. Even if it's done, there's the possibility of releasing the person alive. It's still 50-50.
What role can locals play in all of this? Because they say these kidnappers and other criminals, they live amongst the people in local communities.
Yes, they do. Locals have a lot to play. And that is why I want to commend President Tinubu, because I saw his manifesto before he became president, where he talked about the use of forest guards. Of course, for me, he knows the value that these criminals attach to our forest, because this is where they keep hostages. This is where they find a safe haven. They use as hideout to come out, kill, do whatever they want to do, go back.
And hibernate.
Yes, and regroup and come again. So there's a lot that is happening in our forest in Nigeria. And so the idea of him coming up with a forest guard, which he has given approval, right, for the establishment and the state government's contribution to it, for me is a welcome development, because just the way I said, crime is local. For us to tackle crime, we must go local. So one of the ways we can go local is by this forest guard's approval, and members of the forest guard, from what my find is, they will come from these local communities that they live. They are more used to the environment, they are used to the terrain and all that. So when these foreigners that are criminals come, you don't expect these criminals to be more aware of this environment more than the original inhabitants of these communities. So they must see that they involve locals, not just involving them. Once you create that that forest guards, you must equip them, because even the police in this Kebbi incident said that the criminals are well sophisticated with arms and all that. So we need to carry bare arms that should equate, what they are carrying.
How do we cut essential supplies to these criminals?
You see, unfortunately, they have their links. You see foreign criminals coming to this country, how do they get connected to the local ones that we have? They have their links, phones. They have the way they communicate. Now, the general and the other military officers that they have killed, didn't you see the videos on the social media? Which phone first videoed and sent it to the social media before we started spreading or sharing them? A lot needs to be done. Are we using the right technology? No. Do we have the resources to procure the right technology? Yes. Are there officers or personnel that are saddled with the responsibility of engaging this technology to see what is happening out there? The answer is yes. Are they doing it? No. Are they being punished? No. In this country, you see criminals with gun trucks. Boko Haram carrying gun trucks in this country.
On Nigerian soil.
On Nigerian soil. You have using walkie-talkies. How are they functioning? And you say the agencies of government that are saddled with one responsibility or other are living up to their expectation?
The governor of Zamfara State, Daud Lawal, says that on his device, he can practically see the locations of these criminals. One is wondering, what exactly are we supposed to do with that information coming from an elected state executive?
It's sad. When we hear comments like this coming from leaders that are supposed to provide solution. I just said it that the governors and all the other political officers have roles to play in all of this. Was it not in this country that they asked the Minister of State Defense, that is former governor of Zamfara, to relocate to Zamfara, to the northwest, and see how to fish out Bello Turji, that is the bandit commander of that region.
All right.
What's the result? You are giving orders that the Minister of Defense should go, and the Bello Turji you think is deaf. He'll wait for you. It's just for him just to walk. He doesn't even to climb a donkey or a horse or whatever. It's just to walk, and he crosses into either Chad or Niger. It's gone.
Speaking of Chad and Niger, this, many experts like yourself say, has become a regional or sub-regional issue beyond Nigeria as a country. But then again, the challenge is, we're saying Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger pull out of ECOWAS. Isn't that widening the gap that we're trying to close up in terms of efforts against?
Absolutely. There won't be collaboration. But you see the mistake that Burkina Faso and Mali and Niger did by pulling out. The fact that they pulled out of ECOWAS, it doesn't take them away from the Sahel.
Of course.
It doesn't take them away from the African continent.
So the geography remains.
The geography remains. And we are confronted by a common enemy. Terrorism is a global phenomenon. We are confronted. Look at what is happening in Mali today. Look at what is happening in Niger. The regime change does not make any effect when we're talking about the fight against insecurity. The reason why they took over was because of insecurity, particularly because of terrorism. But look at the way the terrorists are terrorizing them in that country. So the pulling out for me was a wrong thing. It was a wrong move. Even to the point that the last African Chief of Defense Staff Summit or retreat.
The one in Canada?
No, in Nigeria, African Chief of Defense Staff. They had it here when the immediate past CG.
Yes, who had Christopher Musa.
Yes. They didn't come. Mali did not come. Burkina Faso did not come. Niger sent a representative.
That was around the time where threatening standby force, ECOWAS standby force, and the rest. But again, let's now talk about those who were said to have been sponsors of Boko Haram and the other criminal groups. In the days of former AGF, Abubakar Malami SAN, under late now former President Buhari, we heard that there were about 400 of them. Why are we not talking about addressing the sponsorship, those behind the sponsorship?
You see, in this country, it's as if there are some class of people that are untouchable. And that is why when I hear or see that they treat some cases as if the act is not criminal, is not heinous. What we couldn't unveil here, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, sent a list of some sponsors of terrorism in Nigeria, about 12 or 13 of them. Like 10 of them were using their companies registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission to electronically...
To funnel funds.
Yes. To electronically wire monies to finance terrorism. I know that to be able to address terror financing or terrorism financing is a complex task, whether we like it or not, because there are legitimate funds and illegitimate funds.
All flow in the same direction.
Exactly. So how do you now establish which fund is illegitimate, that is for the purpose of financing terrorism? And that is why EFCC, NFIU, and the likes must see that they embark on professional training to be able to work with our conventional banks. How well are they even working with our conventional banks? That when somebody sends money from his account to another account, and you will not be able to, that you'll be able to establish that this fund is meant to finance terrorism.
It's quite a tricky process.
It is. But I want to believe that these sponsors, they are also becoming aware that they might be traced and tracked, and that is why terrorist bandits have resulted in ransom collection, cash.
So no paper trail.
How do you trace?
All right, let's cycle back to where we started from, Doc. How do we begin to work our way towards rescuing these girls now?
You see, the government, security agencies, they have given the troops, police, I think it's a joint team now, you know, the marching orders, you know, to see how to rescue it. But my worry is not even in the rescue. Preventive measures. If this happens and you are able to rescue and you bring them back, is there a possibility that we won't see it happen again? What is it that you are putting in place? Because we must be proactive. We must see that we put measures in place that these things don't happen. I talked about the trauma that this will leave in these young girls. The Leah Shaibu of Dapchi, where is she today? Nobody has said anything about her. Nobody. So we might see the same thing happen, that some might be released, because she refused to renounce her religion.
Right.
That's why they had her. It's possible that some of them in this case now are Christians, and they will choose not to renounce their religion, and they want to keep them. Imagine what their parents and all. So there's an effect in all of this. Let us see that it doesn't happen. But sometimes these things happen. Government will come out and say no ransom was paid, they were released and all that, or they were rescued. But the point is, government should be truthful to her citizens. People that are saddled with the responsibility to provide security. Because if we have passion, what I'm doing here is because I have passion for it.
Right.
That's why I went into security, private security, and I've studied, did all the trainings and all that, because I have passion for it. There are a lot of Nigerians out there doing this job that don't have passion for the job. I don't know if you know.
Very well.
They go into the job because there's no job, because they want to make money. And instead, rather than doing what is right, they begin to look at the other way to see how to make money. So we must see that we have passion for the job. And how well are they carrying these stakeholders in our rural communities along? Traditional rulers, clan heads, local vigilante, and all that. You need to see how to bring them on board. See the sacrifices that the civilian GTF are doing in Borno State. Even this last ambush.
Exactly. They were also badly impacted.
They were casualties. Some of them lost their lives in it. So when these people are there volunteering to see that they support what government is doing, they need to be supported.
Well, I think this, again, is a long drawn-out conversation, but I would like to say a big thank you to Dr. Stephen Okwori, security expert, for coming to talk to us about this issue. And Global Television will always continue to monitor the situation and bring you blow-by-blow updates as to the developments regarding the rescue efforts of these young girls. We're taking a quick break, everyone. When we return, to be time to cap it off on the program. Do stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Security matters very personal, and they whip up so much of emotion because they have to do, has to do with life and death. And this one that comes very close to home, the 25 schoolgirls that were told got abducted yesterday, is just one that you can't get past, because first of all, you're asking yourself, how did their parents sleep last night, and how will they sleep for the next, hopefully, couple of nights until we are trusting they get released?
Well, it's sad. I think that has been on my mind since I heard of the incident. How did their parents sleep last night? We're hopeful, and I hope that this time around we'll be able to bring back our girls.
Right. Okay, yes, beyond the hashtags, actually. Thank you so much, Priscilla Obasi. And I'm Uyag Mofwegbe, reminding you that the views of our guests on our programs, including here on Global Morning, are their opinions, and our broadcast of programs here on Global Television continues.
And I'm Priscilla Obasi, wishing you a beautiful day ahead.